Thanks for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Kim Dami in Seoul. We begin with the 2024 Paris Olympics. South Korean women's archery team brought their country its 10th consecutive Olympic gold medal, defeating China on Sunday. South Korean shooters Oh Ye-jin and Kim Ye-ji secured gold and silver medals, respectively, in the women's 10-meter air pistol shooting, with Oh setting an Olympic record. The United States is 100 days away from its November presidential election. While polls predict a tight race between former U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, we have an expert analysis on who has a better chance of actual winning. K-pop has managed to have the top 2 albums for the first time on Billboard 200, with Stray Kids becoming the first group to debut at #1, and BTS Jimin placing himself at #2. South Korea has so far clinched 3 gold medals, 2 silver and 1 bronze at the Paris Olympic Games, securing the 5th place on the medal table. Now, the first weekend of games was especially good for Team Korea, with archers claiming the team's 10th straight gold medal and shooters setting fresh world records. Our Kim Si-young has more.
The South Korean women's team once again claimed gold in the team event, in what is the team's 10th consecutive gold medal in archery since the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The trio, Chun Hoon-young, Im Si-hyun and Nam Soo-hyun, defeated China in the women's archery team event on Sunday in Paris with a 5-4 set score after a tight game that ended in a shoot-off. The South Korean trio claimed victory after a dramatic scene where the target judge awarded 10s to the arrow shot by Chun and Im, which were initially scored as 9s after hitting the line between the bullseye. With the review awarding both South Korean players 10s, Team Korea won with a 29-27 in the shoot-off to capture its 10th consecutive Olympic gold medal. Republic of Korea leads all countries in Olympic archery with 44 medals overall, including 28 gold. Next, we have shooting, where South Korea has won both gold and silver in women's 10-meter air pistol shooting, as well as silver in 10-meter air rifle mixed team event on Sunday. South Korean shooters Oh Ye-jin and Kim Ye-ji won gold and silver in the 10-meter air pistol, both surpassing the previous Olympic record set by Vitalina Batsarashkina in Tokyo 2020. 19-year-old Oh Ye-jin scored 243.2 points, while Kim Ye-ji scored 241.3. The newly crowned Olympic champion said that she is very happy we scored first and second, adding that silver winner Kim is my roommate and thanks to her, I could feel less pressure for the match. In other shooting categories, Park Ha-jun and Kim Ji-hyun teamed up to claim the silver medal in the 10-meter air rifle mixed team event on Saturday, making it the first medal of Paris 2024 for South Korea. In fencing, South Korean Oh Sang-wook claimed the gold medal in men's individual saber fencing on Saturday, giving Team South Korea its first gold medal at the Paris Olympics. 27-year-old Oh defeated Tunisian Fares Fejani by 15 points to 11 at the Grand Palais in Paris. He became the first South Korean male to win Olympic gold in individual saber fencing after his former teammate Kim Jung-hwan won 2 bronze medals. The Paris 2024 Olympics official social media account, however, misspelled Oh's name on its Instagram's congratulatory post, writing Oh Sang-gu instead of his name Oh Sang-wook. After numerous comments, the account later corrected Oh's name. And finally, in men's swimming, Italy's Nicola Martinenghi on Sunday stormed to men's 100-meter breaststroke gold, leaving Britain's Adam Peaty and the USA's Nick Fink to share the silver. 24-year-old Martinenghi swam the race of his life to claim the title in 59.03 seconds at Paris La Défense Arena. Many speculated that the race may be a historic three-peat for Britain's 2-time Olympic champion Adam Peaty, who came in just 0.02 seconds later than the Italian at 59.05. In other swimming categories, South Korean Kim Woo-min claimed a bronze medal in the men's 400-meter freestyle swimming on Saturday, becoming just the second Korean swimmer to have reached an Olympic podium. Hwang Sun-woo, who is also this year's world champion in men's 200-meter freestyle, failed to proceed to the 200-meter finals. Kim Si-young, Arirang News.
Now, over in Carnoustie, Scotland on Sunday, the 2024 Senior Open Championship victory was claimed by South Korean golfer Choi Kyung-ju, his second career PGA Tour Championship title. But the win this weekend makes history as it becomes the only second Asian golfer to ever win a PGA Senior Major. Ian-jin reports.
54-year-old South Korean professional golfer Choi Kyung-ju, commonly known as KJ Choi, had a successful weekend in Carnoustie, Scotland, claiming a PGA senior title that comes with $447,800 in prize money. The 2024 Senior Open Championship, presented by Rolex, returned to Carnoustie from July 25th to the 28th. Choi led by one stroke entering the final round, then shot 4 under 32 on the back 9 to finish at 10 under 278 total, beating Australian Richard Green by 2 shots. But the 8-time PGA Tour winner had a rough start, hitting a bogey and dropping further shots at the 5th and 6th holes before gaining momentum with back-to-back birdies on the 9 and 10. The win marks Choi's second PGA Tour Champions win and the first since 2021. In 2007, Choi finished tied for 8th at the 2007 Open Championship at Carnoustie. As well as his 8 PGA Tour titles, the South Korean has won a European senior title and, with his win at Carnoustie, has become only the second Asian golfer to ever win a PGA Senior Major. The Senior Open Championship features male players aged 50 or over, one of the most sought-after titles in the senior game, and is the third major of the Legends Tour season. For the weekend, Paul Broadhurst from England placed third at 6 under, while Stephen Ames from Canada came in fourth at 3 under. Ian-jin, Arirang News.
New K-pop albums are sweeping in new records. Stray Kids and BTS Jimin's newest project are side by side on the main US chart, setting a new milestone for K-pop. Our Moon Hae-ryun has more.
K-pop is breaking records on a US music chart, with boy group Stray Kids and BTS member Jimin's latest albums debuting atop the Billboard 200. Stray Kids' newest album, called 8, landed first place in the chart, which is the 5th time they've achieved such a feat. This makes them the first group ever to debut as number 1 with their first 5 charting albums, following Ordinary, Maxident, Rockstar and 5 Star. As of Sunday, according to Billboard's data provider Luminate, 8 topped the charts with 232,000 equivalent album units earned in the US in the week ending July 25th. This is also the biggest number of album units recorded for a K-pop album in a week this year. Of this figure, 218,000 units are album sales, which is the largest sales week for any K-pop album so far in 2024 and second only to Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department. Earlier this month, the K-pop boy group also headlined one of the UK's biggest music festivals, the British Summertime Hyde Park Festival. The only other K-pop group to have surpassed more than 5 number ones on the Billboard 200 chart is K-pop sensation BTS, with one of its members also debuting at number 2 on the charts. Jimin's second solo album, Muse, earned the equivalent of 96,000 album units. This makes it the first time that the top 2 albums on the Billboard 200 are K-pop albums. Jimin is currently still serving his mandatory Korean military service obligations, but BTS members have been committed to releasing solo projects throughout their service. The Billboard 200 ranks the most popular albums of the week in the United States based on multi-metric consumptions as measured in equivalent album units. Units are made up of album sales, track equivalent albums, and streaming equivalent albums. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
The one-man Korean action thriller movie Night Fishing starring Son Seok-gu won the Best Editing Award over the weekend in the short film segment at the 28th Fantasia International Film Festival in Canada. And this means it's another award for a short film at an international film festival for director Moon Byung-gon, who also won an award in Cannes in 2013. Night Fishing has been praised for its new take on the filming the main character from a car's perspective. It pictures a mysterious event at an EV charging station at night with a running time of 13 minutes. Now, the film has gathered nearly 50,000 viewers since it premiered in theaters in mid-June, with tickets costing less than $1. In 100 days, the United States will elect its new leader. Like recent polls indicate, one expert says it's going to be a very tight race, where both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will push themselves in this 100-day sprint to the election. An Sung-jin has more.
100 days left to the United States presidential election. The election race has already seen a series of unexpected variables, with the U.S. President Joe Biden dropping out for the Democrats and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump facing an assassination attempt. It's difficult to predict the winner for this race. According to a poll released on Monday, which was conducted over the weekend, 43% of those surveyed show favorability toward Vice President Kamala Harris, who is likely to become the Democratic presidential candidate. This is 8 percentage points more than the same poll showed a week earlier. On the other hand, for Trump, his ratings dropped to 36%, losing 4 percentage points. Harris has been pushing through her presidential campaign and has raised $200 million in just 1 week. 66% of those funds came from first-time donors as the Democratic Party continues to rally behind her campaign.
We have a fight ahead of us. We've got a fight ahead of us. And we are the underdogs in this race. And you may have noticed Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
Former President Trump has been sharpening his attacks. At a rally in Minnesota over the weekend, Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance targeted Harris's previous role as San Francisco District Attorney, saying that not only did she destroy San Francisco, but if she were in the Oval Office, she would kill the American dream.
Harris presidency means 4 more years of extremism, weakness, failure, chaos, and probably World War III. I really believe it. A Trump victory will bring back leadership, competence, common sense, and strength to the Oval Office. That's what we had. We had no war.
An expert says that though tweaks may be made, Trump will pursue a similar presidential campaign despite Biden dropping out from the race.
I think that what he will do is Biden's failure is also Kamala Harris's failure as well. So they kind of bind them together and criticize the Democratic Party leadership, whether it be Biden or Kamala Harris.
With no Democrat challengers for Kamala Harris, she could become the party's official nominee in a virtual vote as early as Thursday. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
The Israeli military conducted airstrikes on Sunday targeting Hezbollah's military in Lebanon. Now, the airstrikes came in response to an alleged attack by the militant group on a football pitch in Golan Heights that killed 12 Israeli children and teenagers. Lee Seung-jae reports.
12 children and teens were killed when a rocket struck a football pitch in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Saturday. While no one has claimed responsibility for the deadly attack, Israel was quick to blame the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. The militant group said while it struck a military base in the region in retaliation for Israeli attacks in Lebanon, it was not behind the attack on the football pitch. Saturday's strike also marks the deadliest attack on an Israeli target since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October. However, Israel was swift to respond, launching airstrikes against a number of Lebanese targets on Sunday. The Israel Defense Forces claimed it conducted airstrike against 7 Hezbollah targets deep inside Lebanese territory. No casualties have been reported yet. The United States was quick to condemn Hezbollah for the deadly football pitch attack. This includes U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who is said to be closely monitoring the situation. However, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who supported Israel's rights to defend its people, also stressed that there shouldn't be an escalation of tensions.
We're in conversations with the government of Israel, and again, I emphasize its right to defend its citizens and our determination to make sure that they're able to do that. But we also don't want to see the conflict escalate. We don't want to see it spread. That has been one of our goals from day one, from October 7th on.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also condemned Saturday's attack in Golan Heights, while expressing his deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives and wished speedy recoveries to all those injured. However, the UN chief also stressed that all parties must exercise maximum restraint and avoid any further escalations. Golan Heights is a historically contentious region in southwestern Syria that also overlooks Lebanon and borders Jordan. The region was part of Syria in 1967 before Israel captured most of the area during the Six-Day War. It later fully captured and annexed it by 1981. However, the annexation by Israel has not been recognized internationally as Syria continues to demand its return. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
To more systematically counter the provocations coming from North Korea, defense chiefs of South Korea, the U.S. and Japan put their heads together in Tokyo over the weekend and sealed their first security cooperation memorandum. Our Kim Jong-sil reports.
Defense Minister Shin Won-sik met with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara in Tokyo on Sunday and signed a memorandum that institutionalizes trilateral security cooperation amid growing threats posed by North Korea.
We have signed the South Korea-US-Japan Security Cooperation Framework. This marks the first time in history that security cooperation between the three countries has been institutionalized.
The Memorandum of Cooperation on the Trilateral Security Cooperation Framework aims to formalize high-level defense talks, information sharing, and trilateral exercises to contribute to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in the Indo-Pacific region. The multi-domain trilateral exercise, Freedom Edge, will likely take place more often. In the meeting, the three defense chiefs recalled their commitment to strengthening their cooperation to deter nuclear and missile threats posed by North Korea. They also expressed serious concerns about the regime's growing military cooperation with Russia.
In a situation where the rules-based international order is under threat, strengthening the security cooperation between South Korea, the US and Japan is not a choice but a necessity.
In a separate bilateral meeting with the U.S., both sides strongly urged North Korea to stop sending waste-carrying balloons toward the south and condemned military cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow. In a meeting with the Japanese defense minister, they agreed to establish an annual plan for defense exchanges and restart joint search and rescue exercises. The three defense chiefs agreed to hold the next meeting in South Korea next year. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
And also over the weekend, South Korea strongly slammed North Korea and Russia for their risky military cooperation. This time during this year's ASEAN Regional Forum, which was attended by officials from both South and North Korea and took place over the weekend in Laos. Seoul's Foreign Minister Cho Tae-il called on nations present to form a unified response against threats from the north. The ASEAN Regional Forum is significant as it's the only multilateral forum that includes Pyongyang and gathers officials from South Korea, the US, China, Japan, Russia, and the ASEAN member states. This year, the North's ambassador to Laos, Lee Young-chul, attended the event. Now, since 2019, North Korea has been sending an ambassador stationed in the host country of the ARF or an ambassador to the ASEAN as the chief representative instead of the foreign minister. Over at South Korea's National Assembly, there have been a series of filibusters to block the opposition party's push for contentions broadcasting bills. After a revision to the Foundation for Broadcast Culture Act was passed, another filibuster continues over the last remaining bill. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
After a parliamentary vote brought an end to a ruling party-led filibuster, the National Assembly on Monday passed an opposition-led proposal calling for a revision to the Foundation for Broadcast Culture Act. The bill calls for an increase in the number of board members and an expansion of the government's authority to recommend members to media-related academic associations and viewer committees. It passed with 187 votes in favor amid a walkout by the ruling People Power Party. The vote followed a day-long debate initiated by the PPP on Sunday after the main opposition Democratic Party tabled the bill. Under the National Assembly Act, a filibuster in each bill can be halted after 24 hours if at least 3/5 of the parliament agree to do so. The DP has been pushing for contentious broadcasting bills aimed at reducing state influence over public broadcasters. Among them, two of the bills, a revision to the Act on the Establishment of the Korea Communications Commission and a revision to the Broadcasting Act, were passed by the opposition-controlled National Assembly on Friday and Sunday, respectively. The PPP opposes the bills, saying that they would increase the presence of progressive figures on the Public Broadcasters Board, while the DP argues that they are necessary to normalize broadcasting. Right after the vote on Monday, the DP tabled the last remaining revision bill, this time regarding the Korea Educational Broadcasting System Act, prompting the PPP to initiate another filibuster in protest. The final bill is also expected to pass the National Assembly on Tuesday. However, the PPP plans to advise President Yoon to exercise his veto power against the four bills. 3 of the bills were passed last year by the opposition-controlled National Assembly but were vetoed by the president. 신하영, 아리랑 뉴스.
Good afternoon. The intense summer heat that's been baking much of Korea gets stronger today. A heat wave warning is in place for most places, with Sokcho on the east coast seeing the warmest July morning on record today. It's the hottest time of the year in the country, with many taking their summer vacations. Meanwhile, the capital area gets some slight relief from the heat, with a chance of light rain through tomorrow under cloudy skies. However, the rest of the country should be under blazing sunshine with very strong UV rays. And even Busan gets up to 32 degrees, Jeju topping out at 34 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Drink plenty of water and take it easy today. Meanwhile, mountainous parts of Gangwon province are under a strong wind advisory, so be mindful of that if you're planning on outdoor activities in the area. Then we're expecting the last stage of monsoon rain in the northern parts of the country this week. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
That's all we have at this hour. Arirang News will be back at 2 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.